Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with another unboxing video, and this time it is Colosseum. It's called Elegy. It's the recordings from 1968 to 1971. This is a 6 CD set by one of the UK's finest jazz prog bands. So before I give you a summary, let's have a look inside the box. This is Colosseum, Elegy, the recordings 1968 to 1971, clamshell box. This is Esoteric Records, which do these sets really, really well. Inside there's a booklet. Sorry, I didn't show you the back, did I? So there are 6 CDs in total, and going from the first album, Those Who Are About to Die Salute You, right through to some additional live recordings. So I'll do the booklet last of all, so let's have a look at the discs to start with. Now they're all single card sleeves, which for Esoteric, I have to say, I was quite surprised. So this is the first album, Those Who Are About to Die Will Salute You. So it's just got the tracks on the back. Then Valentyne Suite is disc number 2. With the tracks on the back. Again, no gatefolds. Grass is Greener was the US edition, where they use the same cover, all the tracks are different, and that's on the back. Daughter of Time is disc number 4, with tracks on the back and a couple of extra tracks. And the live, Colosseum Live, which of course was a double live album. This is in a single sleeve, which I have to say is a bit of a disappointment. The tracks on the back, and then the additional tracks on disc 6. The booklet is quite sturdy and a few pages, as you'd expect from Esoteric. So you've got all the tracks and the original notes from the album as well, which is, again, where my disappointment, and I'll mention this again, the original inner sleeve cover design by Linda Glover, of course, isn't there. And then you've got the tracks and, again, some of the background. This was always on the original albums as well, talking about, you know, what the tracks are about, as many bands from the day used to do that. And then you've got all the listings. And then we've got the essay about the band itself, which is really good. As you can see, it's text heavy. There's lots of pictures in here. Quite small, but again, they've made sure that all the text is not compromised. So I'm only halfway through the booklet here. So again, a lot of these pictures are from the original extra sections of the vinyl sleeves, etc. So lots of memorabilia, more pictures. Again, some of these are from the live album, from the gatefold. And we go all the way through, and it talks about the band, what's happened to the different members, etc. And then basically we've got the bit at the back saying who was involved. So the 24-bit digital remastering by Ben Wiseman at Broadblake Studios in Hertfordshire. And this is dedicated to Jon Hiseman and Malcolm Dome. So that is Elegy, the recordings 1968 to 1971 by Colosseum, Esoteric Records, Cherry Red. And I'll now tell you what I think about the sound and the overall package. So that's Colosseum, 6 CD box set from Esoteric Cherry Red Records called Elegy. It's the complete output. Now, before I talk about the music, I just want to give an observation about the absolute package itself, the physical product itself, because it's my job to be honest and open and always to look for things or areas where things could have been improved. Now, this is Esoteric Records, who I absolutely love their output. I know there are different imprints within Cherry Red, which is the umbrella record company, but Esoteric are the label that nearly always, and I've had to put the word nearly in, include little gatefold sleeves in all of their output. Now, it could be Vinegar Joe, it could be Frupp, it could be Babe Ruth, Keith Hartley Band, but all of their boxes, Steppenwolf, I can think of all of them. Sometimes they came with fold-out posters, but the little CD themselves came in if there was a gatefold sleeve, the original album came in, it was reproduced as a little gatefold sleeve as in the CD box. What is apparent in this set, which is about £45 plus, which I know in 2024 is probably about right, is that they're all just single covers. And I know that all of these albums came in gatefold sleeves. It's got a great booklet. I mean, personally, for the design, I would have chosen the cover of probably Valentyne Suite or The Grass is Greener as the outside of the box, because it's a bit more interesting than the one that they've chosen, which I understand why they've done that, because that's the Daughter of Time colours, but it's probably the least kind of exciting cover to use for the overall design of the box. Some of the BBC stuff that was on the earlier CD releases isn't there, so it makes me wonder whether there's going to be a separate box set with the BBC recordings. But that's my only kind of knock a few points off for the fact that each of these CDs could have been in a little gatefold sleeve, because all of the vinyl ones were in gatefold sleeves, and obviously especially Valentyne Suite and especially the live album. The other thing to point out is, for those of you who've already got esoteric versions of these CDs, I mean, I've got the double live album, which came with a second disc of unreleased material. Basically, this is the same. So I just want to point that out. There are some differentials, obviously, but for the live album, the original 2 CD set is basically these two that are included in this box. However, now let's move on to the music. I played my original Those Are About to Die We Salute You, which I've had on an earlier CD, and I have to say the new version completely blows it out of the water. This is probably the best these albums have ever sounded. Okay, so if you're new to Colosseum, or you are one of your favourite bands, then this box set is a wonderful way in. As I said, the only misgivings are the absolute execution of the covers and the way the sleeve design was done in the box. But musically, it's fantastic. The booklet is very detailed, and it's and it's, as you saw in the unboxing, it's got some great detail in there. Lots of the stuff that was on the original sleeves is obviously included in the booklet as well. But for those of you who are new to the band or fans of, and I know there's a lot of you out there who've recently got into kind of like early UK prog, hard rock, heavy rock as it was called then, that period, and especially if you think of jazz fusion, then Colosseum, Jon Hiseman, saxophonist Dick Heckstall-Smith, who played with the Graham Bond organisation, and also with John Mayall. We've got Dave Greenslade is in. This is where he came in this band as well. And of course, you've got Clempson on guitar. Now, the other thing, and I'll be honest here, as knowledgeable as I sometimes try to be on these things, Valentyne Suite. Everybody should hear this. Now, the first album's great, but this, which was the UK second album, is fantastic with the Kettle, the opening track. But it's basically the Valentyne Suite, January Search, Theme 2, Theme 3, Grass is Always Greener. It is a masterclass in jazz, prog, lashings of instrumentation, great drumming, great Hammond organ, great guitar. It's absolutely brilliant. Now, where the mistake I made was that I always thought that the Grass is Greener, which has the same cover, I just thought it was an amalgam of the first album and this one for the American market. Because basically, sometimes what we had back then was a band would release the albums in the UK. They couldn't get a deal necessarily in America. America caught up, and then America didn't want to necessarily put everything out, so they put out something that was unique to their market. It was a different world back then. And I just thought, although there's some tracks that were different, I just thought, well, it's got to be the same. Because, well, the tracks that are on here are the same. They're not. They are totally different, because Clempson, who was in the band by the time they did The Grass is Greener, went in and redid the guitar parts and did different solos, and they are totally different albums. So even the tracks that are on both are not the same. Colosseum fans watching this were going, Yeah, but I've just caught up. So for those of you thinking it's just like, like some of these box sets do, they have like, this is an extreme case, the stereo version, the mono version, and it's just another way of saying an extra disc. These are totally different albums. So Daughter of Time also sounds good, and this is when Chris Farlowe arrives on vocals and some parts of it. And then, of course, we have the live one, which is a tour de force of jazz, prog, rock, heavy rock, if you want to call it, or hard rock from the 1970s. 1971, I think the band hated the cover because it didn't really represent what it was about, but it was a double live album from 1971. Now, live albums kind of really took off from 72 onwards, didn't they? We made in Japan. So this is one of the ones, the early ones, it's kind of 1971. That's Allman Brothers, Live at the Fillmore, isn't it? What else around that time? Steppenwolf, is it? It's of its time, but it sounds great. Really, a bunch of musicians really, really stretching out as people could back then. Tracks taking up the whole other side of vinyl. So I know a lot of people have asked me about this. So is it worth getting? The albums sound better than they've ever sounded. So, and that is intrinsically what it's about, isn't it? We buy this because we want to have the best versions. The booklet is great. Some of the text has been taken from previous releases. This is a common thing to do now. The double live album, Colosseum Live, has been out for a while. And so that part of the booklet has been transposed and recreated in this booklet. But again, this booklet is a way for a lot of people. This box set is a way for many people to scoop up all the Colosseum albums from 1968 to 1971 in one handy box. So it has a purpose. And for me, I'll be honest, when I did start to do this review, I was kind of thinking, is this something that I can give, a really positive review for? Because on first glance about the CD sleeves not being gatefolds and thinking, well, I've got a lot of this stuff already. But having played it, and I have been playing it a lot all week, I've changed my mind. And I think that I'm really pleased, that Esoteric have taken the time to devote to a project of bringing all the Colosseum albums together. I remember when I saw it on the listings, I thought, this is going to be superb. So it's only really because it's something I'd like to see, because I'm from that generation, it's done it for the other little box sets and stuff. So, and for the price point, it would have been good. But that aside, the music sounds great. And for connoisseurs of music from this period in the UK, there is plenty to enjoy. Daughter of Time, Colosseum Live, with the extra tracks. Valentyne Suite is on here. For those about to die, we salute you. It's great stuff as well. But it is these two for me. The Grass is Always Greener and the absolute top of the Colosseum Mountain, which is Valentyne Suite. Just go off and stream that first. And if this is the kind of music I feature a lot on this channel and you've missed out on this band, the musicianship, the vision and the excitement, it's just amazing. A great jumping off point from here as well. All those people, Dave Greenslade, Dave Clempson, Jon Hiseman. There is so much to enjoy. So thank you for watching, thank you for being here, thank you for all of your support, those who become patrons and YouTube members. Remember, music is the healer and the doctor, so please take care, keep spinning those discs, and I shall see you all very, very soon.